What does that mean?
It means buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye.
We need the outlet for our rock tumbler.
Plug it in!
What, the rock tumbler or the TV?
The TV!
And as for you, I don't know you, but I'm sure you're a jerk. Hey, I've only been here a few minutes. What's going on?
By the powers vested in me by the Federal Communications Commission, I command you to get on the microphone in a serious manner and continue this broadcast.
Get a podcast.
So why don't all you little idiots press your faces up against the speakers and blow your brains out?
Hey guys, what's going on? You are listening to This Week in Geek.net. I'm your host, the Birdman, and welcome to Random Access, or RAM, the show that we just kind of fire from the hip, talk about whatever. Could be video games, could be movies, could be music, could be your favorite hobbies, favorite books. I don't know. Favorite pets. I don't know. But I'm not alone as we trek through movies in this particular episode. I'm joined by my compatriot from the Royal City and co-host of Guelph Politico and End Credits and other many shows on Guelph's CFRU 93.3.
I'm Adam A. Donaldson.
And of course, TWIG's regional video manager and now, I guess, resident librarian,
David Denoyer, coming to you from Ohio.
And the Garden State and host of this anime we have
Ken from this anime, and we're talking a lot of movies.
Yeah, this was a topic. Who came up with this? I think this was Dave's idea, right?
I think it was Dave.
This was just a stream of thought. It's one of those things where you try to think of like cool things that like you can both embody like your personality with, but also really define specific for somebody. And I think in this sense, it's just like, what would I use in this case? Like, how would each of these tie into a letter, and is there a story with each of them? That's how it was for me, at least.
Yeah, because like when you came up with this idea, like I've seen people do similar things on Facebook or on Reddit or like Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever. I've on social media, and I usually see it associated with music. I've seen it done the odd time with movies, but it's usually like genre specific, like spell your name out with horror movies or whatever. So when you came up with this idea, I was actually sitting in Guelph City Council talking with like Adam about this for a couple of minutes, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do for the I in my name. Like obviously the two easiest ones are It and Inception, and I'm thinking, no, I like both of those movies, but they're not really me. So I'm like, I don't know. So allow me to use the internet, try to figure this out. Unfortunately, I was able to come up with some ideas for this. So I'm going to start first so you guys can kind of percolate on yours. And obviously my name is Mike legally, and we're going to go with the first letter, and that's going to be M. And the first movie I'm choosing is probably my first Brian De Palma movie, honestly. And it is Mission Impossible from 1996. I love this movie. This is probably my favorite Tom Cruise movie of all time. It's my favorite Mission Impossible in the entirety of the franchise. And it's probably one of my favorite movie theater experiences. I saw this when I was in high school. I must have been in grade like 9 or 10. And this is when I started going into the movies. I would usually go with my friend Ryan at the time, and we'd go on like school night. We'd go on like a Thursday or sometimes a Friday because he had his driver's license and I didn't. Or I'd go with some of my friends from school, and I'd hang out after we'd play like D&D after class, and then we'd go to the movies and I'd sleep over at like my friend Brad's house. And I remember going to see this and just having such a blast because I've always loved the original Mission Impossible TV show, even the revival in the 80s. I was a fan of, and the NES game. So I was like, all right, I like Tom Cruise. I think he's cool. This is before all the really wacky stuff about him kind of came out.
Yeah,
and
like
I think
just before.
Yeah, like just. And I think the movie I saw before this, that was a Tom Cruise movie. I remember going with my next door neighbor with her parents, and I think I saw Far and Away with Nicole Kidman. So the last thing I saw him, it was like this big romance thing. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see what he can do in a real action movie. And I had such a blast. Like, just, the masks, that cool sequence that was spoofed, I swear to God, for like 15 years in like everything.
It still gets spoofed.
Yeah, it still has things going on. Like, amazing score. And just the fact that they twisted the knife and made Jim Phelps the bad guy. I was like, holy shit. And then even the movie had the balls to kill off the entire IMF team in the first 15 minutes. I never think, like, you're not going to kill Emilio Estevez. There's no fucking way. He gets a
Kill Emilio
metal
Estevez
pipe
with
in
an
his-
elevator. With an
Yeah.
elevator.
I'm like, holy shit. Like, ah. So I was totally into it. I loved it. I've been a Mission Impossible fan ever since, although I haven't seen the last one as of this recording. Just because my summer's packed, I just never got around to it.
I still haven't seen Dead Reckoning and/or Final Reckoning, so like I'm still like I need to get those done, but it's like that's also what I just named right there is like what 5 hours basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
basically.
if you've got time, I guess party on. But yeah, Mission Impossible is my first letter, and yeah, I think it's wonderful. I hope you guys have checked it out. If you haven't, it's a really At least the first 3 are really good. The rest of them, I don't know. There's moments in each of the Mission Impossible movies that are really awesome, but I think the first one is definitely rewatchable from start to finish. If the series ended there, I would have been fine with it.
It's the most unlike any in the series. It is the most.
Yeah.
It is the most original of the pack, basically, because it's De Palma. De Palma is at the helm of that movie. So I mean, yeah, you have starting out with a spy thriller, and the rest just kind of gravitate into action films, which there's nothing wrong with that. But as somebody who just recently revisited the first Mission Impossible, the mystique and the general execution of the stunts and just how they use the theme and everything, that movie's fucking solid.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Angles.
So, all right, so going to our next down the list, we're gonna go to Adam. What do you got?
All right, so obviously my name is Adam, so, as you would expect. 8 a.m. So for my my first A, I'm gonna have a tough time with this activity. A lot of my favorite movies don't fit into the 3 letters in my name, or because the A is repeated. I was looking at the old DVD shelf, so usually a good place to start for me when I'm doing something like this. Looking at the A's, this immediately jumped out to me because it was so foundational. I watched it in high school, actually in media class, come to think of it. And it's All the President's Men from 1976. Alan J. Pakula.
Yeah.
The story of how Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein uncovered Watergate. A lot of people, obviously, I think for a lot of people who went into journalism, this was like a foundational text, and I don't mean like the actual book it's based on, the movie, because the movie makes the job of investigative reporting seem like dangerous and
it's the blueprint of any investigative journalism movie. Period.
Sure, this is very true. There's a movie that came out in I think 2008, 2009, State of Play, which was based on I think it was a British show.
That's on my watch list. I've actually heard very, very good things about State of Play.
It's very, very good, but it is also like you don't get State of Play without All the President's Men. And just think about it in the aftermath of Robert Redford's passing. It's come up a lot in conversations, including on my other movie show. It is it's interesting to watch because the performances are great. It's Woodward, I should say Redford and Redford and Hoffman. They kind of embody those roles. I don't know about anyone else. When I see Bob Woodward or Carl Bernstein on TV, I'm like, well, they don't look like Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman. But it's also Jason Robards. It's Ben Bradley. He's a real joie de vivre. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I think the reason the post doesn't work is because Tom Hanks is no Jason Robards. No disrespect.
It was also really forgettable. I really wanted to like the post because it's like, oh, that's Stevie Spielberg. He can't do any wrong. And it's just like, man, there's some movies. It's just like, is he just like a scarecrow in a seat and everybody acts like it's just real Steven Spielberg there and they just shoot these?
It might be.
I think the post has a message to it, and the message works. I agree. I think the message overshadows the filmation.
It's definitely it's a lesser Spielberg, but it is. I think that I could direct a Kleenex commercial, and it would be
he could. And I will say, like you were talking about how All the President's Men is like the blueprint. I mean, Spotlight is a great example. All the President's Men walked so Spotlight could run.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would love to have an estimate because I've revisited Spotlight quite a bit in the last 10 years. Probably not as much as I've revisited All the President's Men in my life. One of the things I really like about All the President's Men is like a lot of people remember like it was because the foundation of Watergate that was as investigated by Woodward and Bernstein, or Woodstein as they're repeatedly called in the film. Eventually led to Richard Nixon resigning. The film itself, before you get to the montage at the end, which is like this teletype thing of like all the headlines, like leading up to Nixon's resignation on August the 8th, 1975. 1974. The last scene of the film is they've screwed up. They've run with the story. They didn't have a firm confirmation. They had a misunderstanding of the source. They screwed up, and they go to Ben Bradley's house, and they're like, "Yeah, we screwed up." And he's been writing them hard this whole time. It's like, you got to bring like really hard, solid proof that like what the case you're making is. And it ends with him making. I'm not going to quote the last line. It's like, he says, "Well, go home. Rest up, get back to work in the morning." It's only like the Constitution and the presidency and the whole country is riding on, you guys doing your jobs. And that's an important lesson I think that gets missed in hype around this film, is that sometimes reporters screw up, and sometimes that's part of the business of reporting, and you can't get ahead of the story. And that's when mistakes are made. So, some good lessons in there too, as well, just being like a really great atmospheric quality 70s movie. 1976 was a great movie here because you get Network, you get Rocky. It runs the gamut from terribly depressing to very very life affirming. So,
well, I love Robarb's specifically All President's Men for his. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he walks out on this line, if I'm not mistaken, where he's like, "You guys fuck up like this again, and I'm gonna fire you."
That's right. That's right. He does that. He goes back in the house, and they're kind of left standing there. Yeah.
It's so like it's just so his bot. Robarb's is fantastic in Quick Change, and also St. Valentine's Day Massacre are two of his definite highlights in his career. The man's got so many movies, though.
Yeah. Oh, he's remains a national treasure in death. Also, to highlight his name, Hal Holbrook as Deep Throat is really great. Who was like nobody knew. It was like decades later we knew who Deep Throat was, and it turned out he was somebody who was pissed off at Nixon for getting a promotion. But whatever.
That sounds
pretty great name. Pretty great name.
Great name. So anyway, that's my A. All the President's Men.
I love it. All right, so moving on to Dave. What do you got?
So I had to think hard about this one, and unfortunately, me saying that I had to think hard and or long about this one really puts me in a tough spot for the first pick being Dick Tracy.
Really interesting pick.
Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy is
no shame.
Dick Tracy is it is one that has been in my life a very long time, but more so why I picked Dick Tracy and wholeheartedly why it was the first one that came to me was, as I said at the beginning, is I tried to tie in stories to each of these titles as best I could, because I wanted to pick movies that stood for me and whatnot. I remember getting Dick Tracy from, I shit you not, probably Dollar General or like a dollar store, like with my grandma, like on VHS back in the day. Like I specifically remember buying it because I remember my VHS had a tear on one, like the left side, I want to say, like to where like it either sat on the shelf wrong, or like when we took the shrink wrap off, it like it like had a little stuck there. So I have like little memories like that with shit like that. But Dick Tracy was a movie that came into my life because I was really into gangsters for a hot minute there, and had I'd either seen the cover or I'd seen a clip from it, and it looked like a movie that was like full of guns and action. It was also PG, which meant I could easily rent it or like easily get it into the house to watch it and whatnot. And I think I rented it at Hollywood Video the first time I saw it, but it made me a Dick Tracy fan for life. Not only have I seen that movie, owned that movie on multiple formats, I haven't seen it in theaters yet. That is definitely a check mark I want to get at some point. And I have to imagine once Warren Beatty either dies or gets off his ass with this whole Dick Tracy zooms in, that they would actually loan the movie up for theatrical playing, because I don't think I think that's one of the reasons that it hasn't gotten out there yet. But I digress.
Probably.
Dick Tracy is just a
that man's gonna live to 100.
Oh yeah, I mean he's clutching that shit like a fucking prime $2 bill, which he probably spent when he was a kid.
He's gonna be buried with it. He's gonna be buried with the negative. It's
probably that would be the ultimate fuck you. It was more like you like just get on your phone one day and it's just like Warren Beatty being buried with all materials of Dick Tracy, including negative and any other all film canisters. It's just like, wow, he was serious.
He will be buried in that fucking trench coat. You watch
that. I'm not. That I wouldn't be surprised on. But I mean, to go back to that movie, it is the epitome of a detective novel wrapped up in a comic strip, wrapped up in a film that has colors and visuals emulating off the screen that you can kind of see if maybe even Joel Schumacher stole a little bit of that for Batman Forever, because I think those weren't too far apart, and there's actually a lot of similarity in the movies.
I think Schumacher's admitted to that, if I remember correctly.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Schumacher was never a bad guy in the sense of giving credit where credit was due. He always really was a very formal film guy and talked about his inspirations and whatnot.
He is one of the coolest interviews on a podcast was with Schumacher before he passed, and it was like the interview was like supposed to be like probably a half hour. He talked for a full friggin' hour.
Yeah, he was a talker.
He was a talker. It was so interesting to just hear him go on, because it was for Falling Down.
Okay. I love Falling Down
for it.
Well, and like you want to talk about inspirations again, and I wholeheartedly believe, and I think he's actually said it on record once again. One of my favorite discoveries of this year or last year was a movie called The Swimmer with Burt Lancaster, and if you watch The Swimmer, it has a lot of falling down in it, even though it's not like full on violent side of falling down. But there's a lot of falling down in The Swimmer. There's a lot of good inspiration out there that he's claimed for. But no, going back to Tracy specifically, it's the movie just sucks you in. Like, even as a kid, you don't even have to pick up on the storylines or even the ridiculous risque clothing that Madonna is wearing, that to a point where the Parents Association wrote in when that movie hit Blu-ray and we're like, hey, we are Dick Tracy fans. We love him just as much as the next guy, but please, for the love of God, rate this movie PG-13, because now in HD, we can see Madonna's nipples, and we don't want to have that conversation with our kids.
Oh, fuck, yes.
It's one of the horniest comic book movies ever made, and it's
seriously,
I love it for it.
Next to Batman Returns, Dick Tracy is extremely horny as well. No, it's just a fun movie. It's an action-packed movie. I've had so much gravitas into the comics and into the storylines. I've read the novelization. This surprise. But no, I mean, it was one of those movies that stuck with me. So naturally, it would have to go into one that spells my name. So for D, it is Dick Tracy for me.
Yeah, like Dick Tracy is one of those movies I saw a bunch as a kid. Like, I went to the theater. I think I must have saw this like 5 or 6 times. One of the cool things about Dick Tracy, a little bit of trivia for you guys. It has one of the most expensive toys for its time. The Blank, the character that Madonna plays, that character had very limited release on toy shelves. In Canada, it was a shelf warmer. In the States, remarkably low distribution, which led to an astronomical price if you have one on card. I think it's well over $1,000. In Canada, you could buy it at Zellers for Zellers for like $3. It is also one of the most accessible toy lines outside of that figure to collect in box and on card, because the company at the time who was making the toys was Playmates. They were the same company that did Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, yeah.
Yeah, so all those figures are compatible with Ninja Turtle stuff. I had a kid who lived up the street who had a lot of the figures, and we could use the Dick Tracy car for the Ninja Turtles. So if we wanted to have the party van being chased by Sam Catch and Dick Tracy, we could do that. Again, fantastic toy line. And there's another guy that I know. His name is Michael from Retro Blasting, a fantastic channel on YouTube. He did a really interesting deep dive on the Dick Tracy watch. So if you want to get a real replica of the Dick Tracy watch, you have to go down a rabbit hole, and I think there's like only a few guys who make prop replica accurate stuff, but it's fantastic. And it's kind of amazing how Dick Tracy's watch would sort of be the precursor to the Apple Watch in a lot of ways, and you'd see that pop up. In fact, I have a Dick Tracy watch face for my Apple Watch because I'm still a big fan of this franchise. Like, I would love to see this come back in some way, but like we just discussed, Warren Beatty's going to be buried with this and launched into the sun, so we're never getting another
Beatty
one.
said on Zooms In that he wanted to do a grizzled Dick Tracy movie that wasn't as goofy and colorful, so he definitely has something on the mind, but like we said previously, again, it's probably not going to happen. But I mean, I literally have a graphic novel sitting on my shelf right now that is a newer Dick Tracy that I think came out, I want to say like 6 or 7 years ago. That's supposed to be kind of more of an updated, grizzled, Max Payne-ish detective kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm into that. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know how deep we're going, how brutal we're going, but like with the environment and with the story of the original, you could go multiple places with it. But I think to do a remake and or revision, you gotta be careful which one you're picking, because like you don't want to have Dick Tracy. He's going to be a public domain character, I believe, in
a year or two.
Is it like I was gonna say like 2 or 3? I want to say. So it'll be interesting.
Not if Warren Beatty burns down the patent office.
I mean, there is that too, yeah. And he would do it. He would fucking do it.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, so Ken, what do you
wearing
got
his
for
Dick
us?
Tracy coat, mind you.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there are plenty of obviously with Kay, there are plenty of films I could throw in here. I literally, as we were discussing right now, I went through multiple iterations. I'm like, which one should I choose? And I decided to choose The King
Kickboxer,
and I.
the obvious, right? Kickboxer.
No, it's The King and I. I refuse to use antitheticals when I'm sorting. So King and I is my pick. And this is my favorite Rodgers and Hammerstein musical. I'm specifically talking about the 56 version with Yul Brynner and Deborah Carr.
A great version.
Yes. The right version. We don't talk about the Warner Brothers animated version that is very, very racist.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I kind of did too, but the moment he said animated, I was just like, I remember trailers every VHS when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I own the VHS of that movie. It's bad.
It's funny. I would just sitting here scrolling through my Voodoo. I was just like, oh wait, there's actually a lot of movies that start with K. Because like I was thinking the same thing. It's just like, what's he gonna pick? And I'm like, oh, we could have picked Kangaroo Jack, Karate Kid.
Yes, Kangaroo Jack with Ken, of course.
Kangaroo Jack is genuinely one of those fever dream movies where it's like,
just
remember that movie? Yeah, because it was really fucking weird.
It was weird. Like, there's the other one that just popped up, and I was just like, man, I'm actually one of the people that like that movie, but I bet nobody's seen that movie. Anybody see The Kitchen with Melissa McCarthy and
Yes. I own the 4K on.
I really like The Kitchen.
Yeah, it's just really good.
I thought so.
And it's a comic book adaptation, oddly enough.
Oh, things you learn. I've always wanted to see The King and I. Like, I got into musicals when I was in elementary school, just because I've mostly seen like a lot of stuff on stage. Like I've seen Riverboat, which was my first one, which is fucking amazing. I saw Phantom because everybody sees that.
It's Phantom.
Yeah, it's Phantom. You basically have to. I saw it during the pandemic. I got really fucked up and watched Cats. That's an experience.
I love Cats as long as it's the actual stage play video cassette and not that fucking remake, which I've seen twice, and that is enough.
But it's Jellicle.
It's so bad.
I've the only way I will watch that movie is drunk because there's no conceivable reason for me to be sober watching that.
You need to watch that movie on fucking mushrooms. It's a fucking experience, man.
Ironically, the reason I love Cats was because we saw it in the music class when I was in elementary school, and also showed us The King and I, which is actually like The King and I, Oliver, Cats. There's a couple others in there that I've seen too, specifically because of music class. But I remember The King and I having really good.
All I have to say is hashtag
but,
release
like,
the butthole cut.
Yes,
but I specifically took a class in college about musical theater. I still own the textbook that we used for it, because that was one of my favorite college classes that I took.
That's really awesome.
I would have loved to have kept my textbooks, but I was a starving college student, and it was just like, oh man, this book about lighting is great, but also I can get $500 for it. Okay,
I've kept only a few.
I kept a few. Like there's definitely a few that I didn't want to get rid of, but like it sucks because there's so many cool books, but it's just like, oh, it's either sell this book or hold on to it. Oh, cool, damn.
Or rent.
Yeah.
Like I think I've got maybe my broadcast journalism book and maybe my television theory, because a lot of the theory doesn't change, but a lot of the other practices do. So, But musicals, that's a genre. It seems like we get a revival every couple of years, and it'll be really hot for like a hot minute, then it drops. I think the last musical I saw the Mean Girls one, and I didn't mind it. In fact, I liked it because I like a couple of the songs, and I really wanted to go see the musical down in Toronto when it was there, but I just couldn't find my way down there. But I saw Mamma Mia, which locally, one of the singing voices was one of the girls from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I think it was Applejack. It was her singing voice. Was there? No, it was Scootaloo was the voice of the main character. I'm like that's really fucking cool.
Sounds like some Pokemon that I've never heard of. Oh man, I got a Scootaloo.
And she was hot as hell.
Applejack, I choose you.
You, Twilight Sparkle, you flamethrower. And then what else did I see? Oh, and then I saw this one's gonna be really fucking sad, but my mother-in-law, my 80-year-old mother-in-law, took me and my wife to go see Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh god, that one.
First off, amazing. However, Mike made a mistake. And this is gonna be a story I'll tell you guys really quickly, because it'll set the tone for how stupid I am. Have I ever told you guys the too high to order a sandwich story?
No.
Okay, so long story short,
please.
I take edibles for pain sometimes. So I had some edibles in my backpack, and the one day I took some, and I'm going into a local Subway, and then the giggles hit. I was like, and I'm like, I can't drive my wheelchair through that door. I'll fuck it up. So I'm driving home, and I call Blair, and normally my wheelchair can do about 5-6 miles per hour. I slowed it to 2 because I'm like, I'm going too fast. I think I'm dying. I might be too high to order a sandwich, Blair. So I drive home, and I'm crawling into the laneway going, now, what does this have to do with you? For the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat? I'm glad you asked. So, I'm in my wheelchair, and I'm going to be in it for fucking hours. It's going to fucking suck. Mike did not look at the dosage he was taking. Most edibles are between 5 and 10 milligrams. Mike took 100.
Oh god, I thought you were going to say 2020.
Oh no!
Jesus.
Let me tell you, Joseph was right up in my fucking face, and it
I bet.
was a wonderful time. Going, oh, please, into Mr. King.
To be
Anyway,
to be fair,
To be fair.
that is if you're going to get high during a musical. Not that there's not a. You can do worse.
yeah, like it was literally a magical time. I got some looks, and I'm sitting there going, "I'm a menace to society," which brings us back to me. Wow. Now that I look like a complete fool, you're welcome, internet. My next one for I is the beginning of a cinematic dynasty. You can't really friggin' deny it. Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
This one I didn't expect to pick because, like I said in the beginning, I didn't want to go with it. I love the first It. I love the television movie that came out like 1,000 years ago, and Inception. Truth be told, I've maybe seen it twice, and it's okay. I think it's not a movie that ages particularly well. But when I thought about Iron Man, that's the movie that literally changed how movies are made since 2008, and everybody has been trying to recreate that. Obviously, DC was the obvious one, but then they tried to do it with Valiant and Bloodshot, which nobody remembers that when Vin Diesel tried to be a superhero again.
To be fair to Bloodshot, it came out during the pandemic.
Yeah,
Bloodshot's on my list to watch soon because I'm participating in an action movie theme for this month, so that I actually put Bloodshot on the list. So I'm curious.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I really liked the first Iron Man because it was a superhero movie that felt different. Like, it took itself seriously, yet it had fun in it. It was accurate to the way Marvel stuff looked. Like, the Iron Man suits looked like they literally walked out of the comic book. They teased us with War Machine. Now, unfortunately, that was Terrence Howard. I'm glad we got Don Cheadle instead in that role because Terrence Howard could not have played Rhodey going forward. It would have been really awkward. We got Jeff Bridges, right? Yeah, as Obadiah Stane, as Ironmonger, which is a
chewing scenery
with a bunch of scraps. The amount of times that gets screamed.
Made it in a cave.
Yeah, it's just a perfect meme.
Yeah, and the fact that it sets up the Avengers, and they had no idea if it was.
They weren't planning. They were planning nothing. They were like, "Here's an Easter egg."
Yeah, and I remember sitting in the theater with Blair because we'd only been together about a year and change at this point, so we were still kind of feeling each other out in terms of what we like in movies. But I remember sitting in that theater when Sam Jackson steps out of the shadows. I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. I'm like, holy shit! And it blew my mind because at that time, Iron Man was a C-list Marvel. It wasn't, you weren't Wolverine. Captain America was a fucking joke. Spider-Man was still popular because it's Spider-Man and we were just coming off Raimi movies.
The only thing you remember about Iron Man is I remember this really bad 90s show.
Yeah, and the only other thing people knew about Iron Man is at one point he killed the Avengers because he was a duplicate replaced by his alcoholic doppelganger and from Heroes Reborn in the 90s. And yeah, he was a joke character, but when Robert Downey Jr. committed to that role, he got sober, he took it seriously. And Jon Favreau clearly had a love for what this was.
I mean, Jon Favreau, it's been said multiple times in documentaries and whatnot, Jon Favreau put his neck out to get RDJ cast as Tony.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just the fact that we're still talking, they built an entire streaming service around Marvel stuff. Think how many people have tattoos of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. How many people, they built an entire theme park, Avengers Campus, in California for this thing. And the fact that we're still talking about it close to 20 years later, that's something I never would have expected from a comic book movie. Because like I said, at the time, we had the Raimi Spider-Man, think we had Blade 3 in 2004 or something like that. The Fox's Fantastic Fours were middling at best. The X-Men movies were starting to backslide. So when Iron Man came out, it set the bar into what can we accomplish. Now, the Hulk that followed after that, that's a conversation for a different day. But yeah, this is when Marvel really made their stamp of like, we're really going to try now.
I mean,
just watch us fly.
There's a reason Iron Man still is in my top 15 out of almost 50 projects for the MCU. Iron Man's still in my top 15.
100%. So
it was sitting in my top 10 for forever.
Yeah. Like it's probably in my top 10 for sure. So yeah, that's going to be my my next letter. So going to Adam, what do you got, buddy?
Sticking with comic book movies. Again, I'm kind of disadvantaged with in terms of like finding like a real banger and something like I've watched several times. I toyed with Doctor Strange. I'm not a big Doctor Strange fan of the Doctor Strange movie. It's okay.
I am. So.
Okay, well, it's okay to like a movie.
He's my favorite Marvel character. Just
yeah, fair enough.
Easy.
I went with the Dark Knight. Just
okay,
Christopher.
That's Adam. Yes. Adam. That's technically a T. Sorry, that doesn't count.
No.
If you go to the library, it is in the D section.
Yeah, because they're not Sadists. Can you imagine every single movie with a T?
Oh, it'd be so bad. It'd be so bad.
I overlook the and I get rid of the just Dark Knight. No, to borrow another the movie. Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan. Obviously, it's his second of his Batman trilogy. I mean, it's actually you get Iron Man and Dark Knight in the same year because you get the start of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but you get this, which is very idiosyncratic. It's like an touristic superhero movie. It's like it could take place in the real world.
I argue Dark Knight is a great piece of film. It is an okay Batman film.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. It's
I need a recent reappraisal for sure.
Yeah. I this film is one I can quote. Like the entirety of Two-Face's monologue at the end, as well as Joker's monologue at the end, I can quote verbatim because I watched this movie holistically for years.
I remember being the premiere night of the like people were dressed up midnight premieres when they used to still do midnight premieres. Me and my sister went, and it was just that house was on fire. But that movie delivered in every point, and I would argue not necessarily that it's a bad Batman movie. I think you can absolutely be a plus Batman movie and a plus film in general. And I mean, when people talk about Batman, it seems like the two movies that predominantly get brought up are Batman 1989 and The Dark Knight.
It's still in the
given
higher
they're both
echelon.
Jokers, but
like it's in the higher echelon of the Batman live actions. But I think there are certain aspects where I would argue you're stretching it there.
Yeah, I'd say the best Bale has ever been as Batman.
Yes.
What do you mean about that? Where are the other drugs? Sorry.
I still think of the dumbest moment in Rises where it's just like that's what it feels like.
I kind of dig that.
It's a corny joke.
It's a corny. I do like the little bits. I'm more of a fan of Dark Knight Rises than the average person. I love satisfied with that.
No, I don't hate it.
No,
my argument is, they really remixed it for the home release for Bane's voice because in theaters you could not hear that man talk at all.
I think it's bad watching the movie I went to see the Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol in IMAX so I could see the prologue, which is the first like 5 minutes of the movie where he escapes from the plane. He is unintelligible in that cut. Unintelligible. Yes. And it was definitely a choice. But Dark Knight, I don't know what I can add to like the discourse about Dark Knight. I have been very satisfied with that movie, rewatching it. It is, perhaps not to everyone. I have a friend who will candidly admit that they are a comic book movie fan, but have not made it through to the end of The Dark Knight in these nearly 20 years. But I do like how grounded it is. I do like the character work in it. I do like, in as much as I grew up with Nicholson's Joker, this is a very different Joker and much more in the mold of sort of the comic book, where it's, knowing who the Joker is and what his origin story is superfluous to just the fact he's an agent of chaos.
Yeah,
and it's.
I mean, there's also a reason that the movie is in my top 10 for the 21st century so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my a top 5 for me in terms of great movies of the 21st century.
Mm-hmm. No,
I remember it was just the violence the Joker brought was shocking. That's what I really liked about it.
Yeah.
And there's like consequences, and characters are hurt, characters are maimed, characters are killed. If there's a weight to it, that comic book movies still in effect struggle with, that we don't want to kill off this character because we could always use them for a sequel. There's always more money in the banana stand kind of deal. But I have been a fan of The Dark Knight. I'm coming around to this idea, and so much I appreciate Mike's comments about like Marvel still slugging away like almost 50 products later. Do like one and done. I am not a big fan of like movie homework. So Dark Knight, even though it is a sequel, it is not movie homework. And
no, it's not.
And I appreciate that. It's a director's vision. This isn't a studio effort. And whether you like the vision or not, you have to admire that. Christopher Nolan, I think, delivered the movie he wanted to deliver. He made a idiosyncratic movie out of a character that has been interpreted and reinterpreted 30 different ways. So 30,000 different ways, probably more likely. But Dark Knight.
All right, moving along. Dave, what do you got?
So when it came to A, there was a lot of options. One that came to mind was Airplane. That's one that was a movie I was raised off for spoofs and everything. But I wanted to go a little deeper into it, and specifically something that tied back into formatting, both my film aspect, but also just my taste in general. And that is going to be a film that my mom showed me by renting it from, actually, I think Hollywood Video as well, 1984's Against All Odds. This is a fantastic early noir film. It's actually based off a earlier noir film called Out of the Past that was a Robert Mitchum 1947 RKO film. Fantastic movie. Against All Odds, basically the story of Jeff Bridges is a football player who gets his knee messed up. So he either has a choice of quitting the team, or he can go do a favor for his buddy James Woods, who also happens to be kind of a scumbag. And basically he wants him to go to Mexico to find his girlfriend who ran off before she stabbed him and stole his dog. Basically, this leads into a whole forbidden romance thing, and it is in fact the film that brought us the fantastic single and #1 hit across the world, Against All Odds by Phil Collins. So Against All Odds, like I said, it was a movie that my mom showed me. It was one that I latched onto in regards to shaping me into the love of noir that I have now, especially neo-noir. It is a sexy thriller. It's got a great soundtrack, not just the Phil Collins song. I own this on both CD, cassette, and vinyl. And I will say it's a movie that literally didn't get its just desserts, in my opinion. It's one that people kind of know, but it's not one that gets talked about a lot, unfortunately. And like I said, it's got a great cast of Jeff Bridges, James Woods. You've also got Rachel Ward in it, Alex Karras, who played Mongo in Blazing Saddles. There's a lot of great names in this movie, and it's just it's a solid 2-hour noir from '84 that has great lighting, great action, great suspense, and some steamy sex scenes as well. And it gave it next I do. So it's a solid one. I would love to see more people grasp onto it, but it is definitely one that shaped me. So that is going to be my A. Is 1984's Against All Odds.
I love it. All right, Ken, what do you got, buddy?
This was not even a question that it was going to get on here. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I still haven't seen it, if you can believe this.
What? Birdman, you are robbing yourself of cinematic joy. Oh my god.
Yeah. It Ki Kwan's speech, like the monologue that won him the Oscar. I'm not even kidding. Like instantly when I saw that, oh, you're winning the Oscar. Not even a question. Is that speech is one of my favorite speeches of the last couple years. No holds barred, spectacular. I fucking adore that. And it took me a while, but because I didn't want to spend an outrageous amount of money on the 4K, I finally have it on 4K, and I will cherish that for a very long time.
Yeah, I waited for it to drop down to grab mine too. I had to have that on 4K just because of the visuals in that film, but also the editing. Like the highest video quality possible that you can watch that movie at is just a Birdman. I can't believe you haven't watched it yet, man. You gotta fix that.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that it's been on my list for years, and I remember my sister, before we stopped talking, she's like really, really encouraging me to watch it. And it's not like she has a bad taste in movies. I thought she actually had a pretty good palate for certain things. And it's just one of those things where it's like, if it's super popular, it usually takes me a while to get around to watching it. And I really should have got around to seeing it sooner, just because I had a lot of times the year that it came out. And I think I focused more on TV that year than I did for movies. Like I always feel like I'm a year or two behind. It's only thanks to like you, Ken, and Hen that I go to the movies as often as I do now, because I don't want to fall behind and like, what is coming out? What the fuck is going on? Plus, I never know if Adam's gonna call me for end credit, so I better be up on knowing what the hell's out there. Yeah, exactly.
I think what I love about Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I don't, Ken, I think you may have said this earlier when you started that the movie was a success story for multiple people, but Ki Kwan especially had it. But Michelle Yeoh came back into the public eye, and Jamie Lee Curtis fucking reignited.
She won a goddamn
career.
Oscar for it.
Reignited her career, and she has so many butt plug jokes in that movie, and reignited her career with hot dog fingers and butt plug jokes. I mean, come on, you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, I know. Clearly, I gotta check this out. I guess.
But
it's for the hot dog fingers.
There's such an emotional level of that film that if you give that film your full attention, trust me when I say, if anybody else is listening to this hasn't seen that movie and wants to, throw your phone in the other fucking room and literally do not take your eyes off the screen, because if you do, you will miss
probably something. You will miss a lot.
You'll miss a lot, but I mean, there's just a raw emotion in that movie that if you want to cry, there's definitely a few spots you potentially could. There's one that I can think of right now, but I
did multiple times, and I saw it multiple times in theaters.
I remember being pretty psyched that movie. The trailers just didn't do it justice, even though they really did give you what that movie was about. But even the trailers just didn't do it justice, and I think it might have turned some people off, which is why I'm happy word of mouth really spread on it quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm definitely gonna have to get around to fixing that. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I will hopefully have something to report that I got around to watching that. Next movie on the list for me is going to go with my next letter, which is K. And this
Kickboxer, right? Kickboxer, right?
You know, honestly, I would have picked that. I love Jean-Claude Van Damme. Legit man crush. I love the muscles from Brussels.
I love how that's not the obvious choice, but that's just my joke for the rest of this episode.
Yeah, clearly. Kickboxer. No, Cyborg Dave. No, but no, this one, it surprisingly came to me relatively quickly, because I was like, what begins with K? And I'm thinking, King Kong. And I haven't even seen the one from 2005 yet. And I'm still not hot on the new Kong long movies. I'm like, they're fine. Like, well, whatever.
They're
But
popcorn flicks.
yeah, and I'm thinking, all right, cool, whatevs. But this one I remember really igniting my love for this director a lot. And this one is going to be Kill Bill Volume 1. I must have...
As of this recording, have you seen that they're doing the whole bloody affair? Finally?
I am hoping to get a group of my friends together, if it comes to our theater, to go out and see it. I'm really hoping they do.
They're doing a wide release, man. Lionsgate is going all out on it.
I hope so, because like the first time I saw Kill Bill Volume 1, I knew who Uma Thurman was, and like, okay, cool, whatever. I liked Quentin Tarantino. Like, everybody loved Pulp Fiction. I was more of a fan of Jackie Brown and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, because that movie doesn't get nearly enough love. I loved him in 4 Rooms and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, cool. All I knew is Uma Thurman, Katana, Lucy Liu, and all these other people. There's going to be awesome fights. It looks neat and violent. Cool. Went into it, and obviously outside of amazing fight choreography, Uma Thurman pushing herself to do most of her own stunts, what caught me in this was the music. Like, the soundtrack to this is fucking amazing. I can't remember the artist, but the one song's called Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. I found a version and it's like 15 minutes. And it's just this journey that I did not expect to go on. Plus, you can tell Tarantino loved martial arts movies, spaghetti westerns, and it just took over my life. Like, I remember getting the theatrical poster from my local movie theater at the time where I was living. I think I was living up in Owen Sound at this time, and I remember getting the katana pointing towards the ground and that poster. And funnily enough, I don't remember why I was down here, but I remember because I wasn't living in Guelph yet. We drove down to a place nearby called Fergus, and there used to be a giant video store there, and they sold all these little tchotchkes, and I'd never seen Kill Bill merch in public before, but someone in that store was selling the Pussy Wagon keychain, and clearly I had to buy it. Oh, my girlfriend was really happy with me having that in my fucking pocket. But yeah, she's like, Michael, do you have to? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, look who you're with. I'm clearly the biggest idiot in the room. But yeah, it's one of those movies that really changed how I looked at martial arts movies, and it really got me excited. And that movie then led me to find movies like Battle Royale, because the girl that plays Go-Go, she plays one of the main characters in Battle Royale, and I was like, that's fucking cool. And I really started getting into the martial arts movies, and even now, like, as it's recording, there's a lot of like new samurai games out on the market. Like, we've had Assassin's Creed Shadow, Ghost of Tsushima. This year had Ghost of Yotai as of this recording, and samurai shit is really cool. And my next door neighbor has like all the Kurosawa films he wants to show me. He's got the Lady Snow Vengeance or whatever the fuck it is.
So Lady Vengeance trilogy is an experience.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna have to watch all those before we go see Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair, as of this recording. And the thing that really got my attention too is there was an anime sequence in it, and I'm thinking, I've never, because at this time I'd never seen anime on the big screen before. I think a year later I would see Princess Mononoke and maybe Ghost in the Shell at like a specialty theater. I'd finally get a chance to see something on the big screen. So yeah, Kill Bill Volume 1, outstanding performances, but what really caught me was the music, and I didn't expect that. So that is my third and almost final pick. Adam, bring it in.
And just with the Kill Bill, my favorite Kill Bill trivia is a sequence in the house that goes to black and white because to avoid an NC-17 rating because of all the blood.
That is correct.
Which is my favorite detail of any movie. So back to A. I wanted to have like a classic horror flick on here. Again, I was stymied because Halloween begins with an H. And Godzilla begins with a G. So I went with American Werewolf in London, which is an
Fucking A right, dude. I was wondering
American
how. I
Werewolf
was like,
in
so did you go with the classic?
London. Yeah, which is John Landis's film. John Landis, exceptionally problematic filmmaker. But the follow to an American Werewolf in London, I'm mad at. But this is one I recently came to at the Arrow Blu-ray disc special edition.
Beautiful set.
It is very beautiful. Also, really well remastered. It's a beautiful looking film. I love the tone. I love the werewolf effects, the gore, but it's also got humor. It's also got ghosts. Ghosts making jokes.
Ghosts.
Seeing it, sequence in a porno theater, and where you're fighting with your invisible friend. Who is
don't forget the Nazis.
And then yes,
Nazis.
There is Nazis in it as well. It is the whole package. David Naughton, Griffin Dunn. You also get Frank Oz with Frank. Remember Frank Oz performance with a puppet on the end of his hand. It's the total package. I love the beginning. I love where it's just in the moors of rural England. This town is less than friendly. Come to understand it's just recently. Of two hapless American backpackers walking into this bar, the Slaughtered Lamb, which should have been a red flag, but something to a wolf adventure. It's the Griffin Dunn character who's killed. Comes back to coach for the David Dunn character who falls in love with a nurse. Wonderfully extravagant, over the top, lengthy shower sex scene just in their reasons.
Also, very deep question on her legality to do this with patients in a short time and not draw attention to herself.
Adding to the problem. I'm not sure. John Landis was thinking about that. Safety. Let's say safety. What's that right? John Landis.
Yeah.
So that's an understatement and a half.
But just and the climax outside of the full werewolf mode, the creative this. 80s was peak werewolf time. You get this Howlin' Wolf, but American Werewolf in London is probably from because it has that little tone shift. It's it's comedic, it's sexy, it's dangerous, it's there's so much going on, and it's still very tight, less than 100 minutes. So let's be 90-minute, 90-100-minute movies, because I feel like with Robert Eggers or Wolf,
the art of that of the 90 to 100-minute movie is very slim.
I agree.
Yeah, it's hard to make one that is either entertaining the whole way through or just feels rushed. Now, I recently saw this movie this last Halloween. I feel like a blasphemer. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I wonder if it's because I've been hyped up for so many years in my mind, or it has to be this amazing.
Truth be told, it's a bit of a slow movie. There was a few years back, actually, during quarantine, that my friends and I decided that this was going to be the second feature after I think it was Bride. Going from Bride to Chucky to American Werewolf in London.
That's odd.
At 11 o'clock at night, somebody was in fact taking a train to Sleep Time Junction, and it was me. I actually bailed out because I was just and it was I mean, if I would have hung in another 20 minutes, we would have been getting into the attack of the Central Park or the park couple and
right.
The stairwell and whatnot. That was fantastic. I still love that motherfucking shot with that werewolf, that guy at that escalator, because that's the first time you actually get to see full body what it looks like even at a distance. And that shot is so horrifying, and I love it so much. Yeah, a sleepy movie if you are going to go in expecting action, quick and whatnot. But overall, you generally just can't beat the coziness of it. And I think if you had grown up with Birdman, it would have been different. But it's kind of like my friend right now, Courtney, is like watching big movies for the first time, like Chainsaw and whatnot. And I can tell you verbatim that she like Chainsaw like 2.5 stars on Rocks recently. And I was like, okay, that's blasphemy. Like I also get where she's coming from. So yeah,
It's out of all like horror classics, Texas Chainsaw is the most dated per se.
it is, but it's the sound design.
You really
packs a
feel
bunch of that movie.
Yeah, you really feel it aged.
Also, homie, like nothing happens in Halloween. I love Halloween.
Oh, nothing
happens in Halloween until the last, like, 20 minutes.
I've experienced that because I had another podcast I was part of. Last School and Left was we did Halloween, and that was an experience talking to a Gen Z kid, and my host, and we were in complete opposite opinions on Halloween.
But if you want to find out more about Halloween, we have an entire 4-episode podcast on it, actually.
Exactly. We've exhausted.
The thing about Texas,
oh no, we haven't. We just scraped the surface at best.
Texas Chainsaw is, if you can see it in like the original like 16mm, like in a theater.
Oh,
it was like they didn't
I
have
just saw the
in favor.
Yeah. Well, in the sound design,
The sound design,
it is part of the horror.
Yes.
The sound design of
You
that
gotta
is part of the horror.
experience that in
So
theater.
if you can see it in a proper theater, exactly, then you're set. So it's like, yeah. And if it's a again, Birdman. No, I mean, the fact that enjoyability, see it as the all, nothing wrong with that. It's definitely a movie of its time, and I think also there is nostalgia factor that plays into it.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. So that brings us back to you, Dave. What is your next pick?
So I thought long and hard about this one as well, as I did all these. This is not a dick joke, unfortunately. No, with my V in particular, I wanted to not go to the obvious because I could have gone vampires, even though aka John Carpenter's vampires. I could have gone as well as like to Victoria, one of my all-time favorites as well. I love Blake Edwards. I love his comedies. I had to go to one that was a punch for me. And making a punch for me was a movie that I, for the first time in my life, got to see on the big screen proper in a rundown theater as part of a secret double feature because the person showing this movie did not want to actually pay the rights to screen it. That's why it was a secret double feature, because he would always tell the first movie, but the second movie was always a secret because he didn't want to have any rights for it, so he didn't want to sell tickets for the movie. It was just part of a bonus. And that man was Andrew Kopp, who was a mentor of, and as he's talked about many times on his show, not a friend of mine, but he had a thing called Infinite Shadow Cinema. And I cannot remember for the life of me what exactly the first movie was. It might have been Body of Evil. I don't think it was. I think it was something else. But if it wasn't Body of Evil, the first movie, then the second movie was Vice Squad. And Vice Squad is a capital E exploitation film that is an absolute treat for people that love slimy stuff, savage streets, and the warriors and stuff like that. Like, this is a movie from 1982. Stars the late, great Wings Hauser, who we just lost this year, mind you, as well. And directed by the great Gary Sherman, who gave us films like Dead and Buried, Raw Meat, Poltergeist 2 and 3, if I remember correctly. But Vice Squad is a single mother prostitute who goes by the name of Princess, finds herself forced to work undercover for the police in an order to apprehend a homicidal, misogynistic pimp named Ramrod, who will do anything to not get arrested. This movie is a absolute dive into the bowels of LA, and it has violent, it has sleaze into it. You basically have Ramrod, who is played by the wonderful and unhinged Wings Hauser, who gets caught basically for the death of a woman that he tortures too much, as she is one of the prostitutes that he manages, and it leads into a whole thing of him chasing after Princess because she ends up busting him, he ends up getting free, and now he's on bench for the night, but she's working the strip and going over. At one point, literally, she has a client, a guy finds her on the street, and she has a guy that is paying her to come to his house, which is decked out like a fucking haunted house. I shit you not. Like, creepy organ music is playing. There's little props up and everything, but it's also decorated for a wedding. And she puts on a wedding dress. She goes down into this like parlor that's decorated, and she gets to the casket. The guy pops up and scares her, and she hits him and like calls him like a sick fuck, and he starts crying. He's just like, "You said she wasn't going to talk." It is a strange ass movie, but it is also a very violent and sleazy thrill ride that I got to see because of somebody who I have a great admiration for that is no longer with us. But also, it opened my eyes to the world of exploitation films. And it is definitely one that seeing is believing, because the movie is pretty out of its damn mind. So, Vice Squad, 1982, that is my V. I cannot recommend that movie enough. Shout Factory has done a Blu-ray transfer of it recently. I think a 4K just came out from Kino Lorber here in the States as well. You can find it streaming, I believe, too. I think it's actually on Tubi right now in the States, and I know that it is available in Vudu as well. Vice Squad it's a hoot. If you're looking for something that's a little different, you've had your fun with the 80s stuff that you've wanted to take off your list, and now you're looking for something a little bit more deeper there. Check out Vice Squad. You'll have a good time with it, or you'll be completely grossed out, and you can thank me for it.
Well, I'm going to look on Tubi after we're done recording because I don't have a lot of experience with the exploitation genre. The closest I've ever gotten is we recorded something a while ago, like we're talking years back. We watched the Angel trilogy of movies.
Oh, nice.
And I like them, but the theming is problematic, and I'm thinking
Schoolgirl by day, stripper by night. By night, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want this associated with me, but I like the story in it. I thought it was kind of cool because sometimes you can get some really neat stories out of the exploitation genre. I mean, obviously, look, we got Coffee and Shaft out of that shit.
Well,
so.
and again, I'll add to that too. And I think I told you this when we talked about this off mic. LGBTQ community has taken back the Angel series in a big bad way too. Like you'd be surprised how much that movie representation love is in that group, especially because I think even one of my other favorite podcasts, Junk Food Cinema, had a guy on it that I cannot remember his name for the life of me, but they've been talking about the Angel movies and have even talked about its place in that community. So the Angel movies are a hoot and a half. One and two are probably the better of the trilogy. There's actually 4, if you didn't know, by the way, Birdman.
Oh.
Yeah, Angel 4 Undercover. While you hear me talk about this, go ahead and look up the cover on your phone or on your computer, and you'll see why you haven't heard about it, because the cover is like absolutely 90s Photoshop to the worst possible amount of work.
Okay, so I'm calling Angel.
But yeah, the first two movies are solid. I actually haven't seen the third one, so I can't comment on it, but I've heard the third one is pretty out there, as is 4.
Is it literally just 2 people standing back to back?
That is Angel 4.
It looks like a fucking porno. What the fuck is this?
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here, you Photoshop fucking newbie. But then again, to be fair, every Angel one is not the greatest. I mean, even Angel Part 1 has her in the schoolgirl kind of uniform, and then the whatever. Like,
well, I mean, they were definitely prime poster art for the time that they were being shown, and I mean, they feature that underbelly of LA, and they feature it very, very well.
Like, let's just say we're not going to get the Drew Struzan artwork of the Angels, which, as of this recording, he just recently passed, so we're definitely not getting that.
Well,
there you go.
To be fair, Drew was very sick for a very long time, and rest in peace. Man's a goddamn legend.
Oh yeah, like I used to have his coffee table art book. I got that like years ago, and I'm really sad that I sold it because it was just one. I love art books for like that type of shit. But anyway, yeah, that's awesome. So Vice Squad from Dave. And Ken, what is your next pick?
This one was a no-brainer. It's Nazca of the Valley of the Wind. This film holds a real special place in my heart. This is the first Miyazaki that I fell in love with. It just speaks on such a high level. I mean, the dub the Disney dub is spectacular. I mean, you got friggin' Patrick Stewart, Shia LaBeouf's in it as our love interest. But it's very Miyazaki, it's very environmentalism focused, and I love this so much. I own the original manga that got them the money to make this dang movie, because again, this was the first Ghibli feature. Technically wasn't Ghibli, it was not. It was before the studio was technically founded, but it counts as the first Ghibli film for most people's eyes on technicality. I love this film. I love this film. It is a beautiful piece. I want to eventually see this get a 4K. We're starting to see some 4K restorations of Ghibli features. We got Mononoke most recently, and I'm really interested to see what happens when they do this, because if you saw the Mononoke 4K, holy shit, that, like, it feels like they redid some of the CG in it. In Mononoke, because there's no way, I don't remember it being like that kind of thing. But yeah, Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind is like up there as one of my favorite Ghiblis. It's not my favorite Ghibli after having seen Castle in the Sky. Castle in the Sky is my favorite Ghibli, but Nausicaa is definitely number 2.
It's one of those ones that I've always heard of, but I've never gotten around to seeing, which I guess is a kind of a reoccurring theme on this show. Hopefully, actually, now, if I wanted to watch this, Ken, where would I have to go? Like, can I stream this on Disney? Can I, like...
So here in the States, I know Nausicaa, I know all of the Ghibli stuff is on Max, but I believe everywhere else it's on Netflix.
Okay, so I should be able to watch this pretty easy then.
Because G-Kids owns the rights to all of Ghibli's catalog. That was like 5 years ago that they got the catalog, and they put it out on Netflix everywhere but the US. In the US, Max got that.
Okay, well, I'll have to get around to checking that out, because, again, it's one of those things I've always heard about. I think I've seen the trailer, but it's a name I often hear, so I'll have to get around. So for my final pick, this one I think might come as a bit of a surprise to all of you, but this is very much probably my first comfort movie when I really kind of think about it. Like, I think about the amount of times I recorded this on tape, and I think I recorded it like a bunch of times by accident, but I always kept a copy of it no matter what. And I'd always see it on Showtime or HBO or whatever. And this guy, the actor in this, Jim Varney, was just so much a part of my childhood and felt like a safe person. Like, this is someone I could feel safe around. And it's the first movie in a long running series. Ernest Goes to Camp. And this one, it speaks to me. This is one of the quintessential 80s kids comedies that felt ridiculous yet wholesome. It's very Scooby-Doo-esque in how it sets up its villain. Obviously, there's a big land developer, and there's all these stereotypical people, sort of like Bad News Bears goes to camp sort of thing. There's like the ruffian, the joker. There's like the helpful like camp nurse who happens to be indigenous, and for some reason they dress up grandfather in war paint. The two cooks with eggs erroneous and their stupid bullshit, and it's so dumb, it's so over the top. But Jim Varney just gives a performance where it's so genuinely authentic. And as a kid who didn't have a lot of positive adult role models, in his life. I'm not saying Ernest is a person to aspire to, but I love that friendliness that he brought. He just was, you can say whatever you want to me. I'm going to be friendly to you. I'm going to listen to you. And I don't know, it was just very comforting as a child to have that. And whenever I would go back and rewatch Ernest Goes to Camp, I can't help but think about like the singing. Like I can't even hear that song Together Forever without getting a little, kind of choked up, because I always associate such good childhood memories watching this by myself and just thinking like I'm in a good, safe place. Nothing can hurt me. And yeah, like honestly, Ernest Goes to Camp. Did not expect that to come out, because I was like, what am I going to do for Eraser? The movie with the fucking rail gun?
Eraser is a fucking masterpiece. And I will not have you slander that film on this podcast.
Well, then I guess I'm going to do my other pick, X versus Sever. Sorry.
There's also another short.
Excuse me. That is Ballistic.
Yes.
Ballistic X versus Sever. This is a movie episode. Let's get this right, Birdman. Jesus.
You can also do another Arnold Schwarzenegger End of Days.
That's true.
I'm gonna for some reason End of Days has been coming up a lot lately. For like the last 3 days, this movie's come up once a day in my life.
It's the End of Days.
I want to revisit it. But man, I remember the fight scenes have like 200 edits in them the last time I watched.
Oh yeah,
that makes it awesomer.
Like
it's not a great
really
movie.
Cutting. It makes it dizzier is what it makes it happen. That's what it makes it.
But yeah, like I remember talking with Dave about this, and I think it was either on the phone we talked about this or like either text message. And I was like, I could do Evil Dead, but that feels too easy for this.
You just say that.
And I was like, I love those movies, but Ernest is, I would almost like to go down the Ernest rabbit hole at some point, because I know I've talked about doing it on the podcast for years at this point, but there's like, how can somebody really quickly look up how many Ernest movies are there?
I think there's like
Ernest
5
Goes
or
to
6.
Africa.
Or like Ernest Goes to School, or Slam Dunk Ernest, I think was like one of the last ones. Obviously everybody talks about Ernest Scared Stupid, because that's like the Halloween movie. Ernest Saves Christmas. I would watch that in July. Again, just Ernest was that safe type of person. I don't think I've ever seen Goes to Africa. I think I may have seen In the Army one time, or
9.
Maybe I'm
The
not.
Army has one of my all-time favorite gags.
9 Ernest movies.
Yeah,
So,
The Army is one of my favorite gags.
I'm getting 10 if you count the Dr. Otto movie,
Okay, that's
but,
not. It's just Ernest. Anything with Ernest
if you're
in the
not
title.
counting the. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe at some point when we've totally run out of gas, we'll do that. I mean, it's not going to be the Air Bud cinematic universe, but few things are. So yeah, that's going to be my last pick. Ernest Goes to Camp. So Adam, what do you have for presumably your last pick?
Yeah, there's no double M at the end. I wanted
Adam.
or a silent H. I have heard that's an option. I digress. I wanted some Tim Burton recognition on this list, because that was like the first director I got really into, like following his filmography and learning about like his life and learning about his influences. I had 2 choices. I had a D, and that would be for Dumbo, and No Mas for that one. But I do like this one. It is one of his lesser appreciated ones, but I like it just the same. Mars Attacks. I like how sadistic it is.
Good.
Yeah.
You had 2 choices.
I had 2 choices.
You chose the better one.
Better one. Yeah, I like it. I like how sadistic it is. I like the alien. I feel like he captured. I remember they reissued the Mars Attacks trading cards at some point when I was a kid. I feel like it was in the midst of like the collector card era, like when they released the Marvel cards and like Upper Deck. It was raising the ante with like hollow foil and this and that. And then at some point they re-released the Mars Attacks cards. And was I allowed to buy the Mars Attacks card like 10 or 11? Absolutely not, because they were ultra violent, they were sadistic, they were gross, they were graphic. Even though this is a PG-13 movie, I feel like it captures that gestalt. I feel like it just the just awful ways some of the people in this film perish. Jack Black, one of Jack Black's earliest roles, he plays Lucas Haas's brother who's in the army.
I surrender.
Yeah.
Die, you alien shithead! Like, I surrender.
Dying on live TV so your family can watch, not great. But had it coming? Question mark. Great cast, like Pierce Brosnan being Goofy. I kind of dig that. Like 1 year after he's like,
the cast is insane.
Yeah,
like the cast is literally insane.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Jodon Baker, Pierce Brosnan, Sarah Jessica Parker, Danny DeVito, Jack Nicholson,
Glenn Close,
Michael J. Fox.
Oh yeah, Michael J. Fox, freaking Jim Brown, Pam Grier. I mean, Tom Jones. It's a stacked cast.
It's a tremendous cast, and young Natalie Portman as the first daughter,
president's daughter.
So there's.
Oh yeah, and Glenn Close is the first lady.
Close is the first lady.
There's so many people.
Jack Nicholson in 2 roles too, because he plays Art Land in the Vegas scenes, and as well as
Art Land is not a character. He's an enigma. He is a fucking enigma. Because that whole scene where he's trying to entertain the investors, and we're gonna sir. Oh, hang on, Carl. I'll get to you in just a second. Whoa!
I would just imagine. Just imagine when Jack passes away, that shows up in his reel.
God, I hope so. Well, and you also have the great Rod Steiger, which if you ever want to see somebody get mad at any movie possible and make you afraid, even though they're behind a screen, they're behind a glass screen wrapped in plastic, and you're just like, Rod Steiger's gonna kill me. Like, anytime that man gets mad on screen, it is terrifying, and especially in Mars Attacks.
He's
there's something
yeah.
Sorry,
I was gonna say he's also funny too. There's a scene where he's like trying to get Jack Nicholson, who's as the president, sign off on the use of nuclear weapons, and Nicholson yells at him, and he just like the way he just takes the paper off the desk and slinks away is comic gold.
Yeah. Well, and the way he comes to the alien and shoots him while he's shrinking, and then flips him off before he gets stomped. God, I love Mars Attacks. That's a great fucking pick.
Yeah.
Also, thankfully, since it's Warner Brothers, it is readily available.
Yes, it is
on physical media.
Yep.
So
does it have a 4K yet?
I think it might. Oh, really? It doesn't.
Nope, not yet.
I don't need 4K. I have the Snap case. Snaps open.
I mean, that Snap case, that was one of those VHSs that when I bought, I felt cool, even though I don't think I was.
I feel like the Mars Attacks IP has come back in the last couple years.
It has.
I think
there's and also like Warner, I know, has slowly been going and 4King all of Burton's stuff.
Well, they have a deal with they have a deal with Shout, right? Shout is released or is releasing.
Yeah, which Shout now has a distributor through Guru or what is anybody know the website name?
Groove. Yeah.
Groove. Yeah, Groove.
Groove is
because they've basically, I think, shut down their home store and everything. They've been doing some restructuring.
Yeah,
over there.
I think that's as of like earlier this year that they shut down.
Well, I mean, Shout is doing the Lord's work on a lot of things. I mean, not only of them releasing these Hong Kong titles like the what used to be the Dragon Dynasty DVDs, like Hard Boiled and The Killer, like those titles are finally getting like beautiful 4K restorations and whatnot. But Shout's also taken over the 4K market largely for big dogs like Warner Brothers and Lions. Even some of the Lionsgate titles are kind of coming through them as well.
It's them and Sony basically.
Not Lionsgate, but yeah. But anyway, no. This is one that 4K of this movie is so coveted by me. I would love to get a 4K of Mars Attacks.
As long as they do really good special features, I would absolutely be down for that. All right, so Dave, what is one of your next picks?
I figure I'm just going to go ahead and put my 2 letters together on this one, since one of them is pretty simple overall. And we are obviously at I now, and I wanted to go so it would have been a really easy one. I mean, that was a movie, I think I've said numerous times, even on this show, that Stephen King's It, the 1990 version with Tim Curry, that was a movie that it just led away for me both into horror, but also just overall more of Tim's career and Stephen King and all this stuff. So it would have been an easy pick to do, but I wanted to go with something a little more surprising, but also one that is 100% accurate. And I'm gonna go with the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen film, It Takes Two. And
okay,
the reason I'm going to go with this film is once again, as I said at the beginning of the show, I wanted to do kind of like personal ties of this one, and this was that case where if you go to a grandparents and or other relatives' house and they have their VHS collection, sometimes you were left with not very many choices for movies to watch. I mean, you could watch, TV, but TV back when you were growing up, like, was not anything like this today.
I equate it to going to a beach house and there's just a selection of movies.
Exactly.
There's
and I mean, and if this is a relative,
what the hell is this?
Yeah, if this is a relative that doesn't really buy movies often, they've gotten a few VHSs, and this is the VHSs they've accumulated. And it was Miracle on 34th Street, It's a Wonderful Life, It Takes Two, and then some one of those VHS kids like cartoon movies that like you got at the dollar store when you bought a bag of peanuts. Like it was one of those free cartoon VHS tapes. So those were the selections we had at my grandma's house growing up. So my sister and I watched incessantly It Takes Two so many times that like it was kind of crazy that in college I may or may not have downloaded a copy of it and watched it and revisited it and been like, holy shit, like I still remember this movie verbatim, but it had not registered with me how many times I'd seen it. And I think it was also an introduction not only for Steve Guttenberg and Kirstie Alley, but also like it's pretty much The Parent Trap, but The Parent Trap done in a really interesting way, in my opinion, to how they kind of pin the two together. But also the chemistry between Steve Guttenberg and Kirstie Alley, phenomenal, hilarious. The freaking villain of the movie, Meredith, I think is her name, is the evil one's name, or Clarice Kensington.
Mm-hmm.
She is like the absolute worst fucking villain that has a hilarious fire back in her face. Literally, when we finish up recording tonight, I may watch It Takes Two now. Even as I'm saying this, like I'm just like, shit, man, that is such a movie that I can escape to for both pure nostalgia, but also just a genuinely like freaking time capsule of the 90s, time capsule of Olsen film movies, because I think it's also hilarious how many people don't realize when those two kids owned the fucking market for video cassettes for that matter. Not to mention the amount of feature films that they had come out, like Billboard Dad and all that stuff that came, direct to video and shit. I mean, the Olsen twins ran the kid industry for a hot minute there. I mean, not even for a hot minute, for a good bit. And I think It Takes Two is probably one of my favorites out of their catalog, but also a movie that I could not tell you how many times I've seen it, because it just worked its way into my life magically for being one of the 4 cassettes that were available to watch at my grandma's house. So naturally, we watched that.
I mean, and like, look, their little sister is one of the best actresses out there in Hollywood right now.
Well, I mean, opinion. And even even go back and watch some of those movies. Like, what was the one? Oh, New York Minute, that was them and Gene Levy. Like that movie's got some pretty good stuff to it. Double Toil and Trouble, the Halloween movie they did with Cloris Leachman, is still like actually pretty scary, because I think it was like early 90s, late 80s kids Halloween movie, and it does still pack a punch overall. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff, to be assessed in that whole filmography as well.
I think we may have to do another show on kids movies again at some point, because I think I've seen this, because I dated a girl back in 2003 or 4, I can't remember, but her name was Christy, and she loved these Ashley Olsen twin movie things, and she also loved the Amanda Bynes movies too. Now, no shade at her, she had pretty shallow movie tastes. But when I look at these movies, you're kind of right. There's something about them there's more to them than what initially you think. And I was very pleasantly surprised. But yeah, I'm almost positive that I've seen this. I may have to get a copy of this just to I remember this?
It's fun. I mean, like it's I'm not saying like oh my god, this is one of the best kids movies. No, I mean like it's a Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen remake of The Parent Trap, but done in a way that's creative and has some really interesting humor moments and just overall like again just a time capsule of 90s kids movies. There's of course there's not only the villain of the evil stepmother, but there's also the villain of the one I cannot remember what his name is for the life of me, but I think he was on Third Rock from the Sun, but he plays no. He plays this guy that is he's a plumber that also owns a construction site. He becomes like one of the villains of the movie. I'm trying to find his name real quick. Give me a second here. I think it's Larry.
Kurtwood Smith is Clarence Boddicker. Sorry.
I know his name's
That's a different movie.
Ernie Grunwald. He plays Harry Butkus in this movie. He's known for Men in Black 2, Cellular. Let's see, he was on Two Broke Girls. He's one of those guys. Like if you see his face, you're just like, oh shit, like I know who that guy is and whatnot. So, but yeah, It Takes Two. That is my I. And then for the final D, I had to go with something that was again kind of a wild card, but also not at all surprising. And I don't know if I've ever really said on this show or even to you guys how much the movie Dodgeball, a true underdog story, has influenced my life. I probably, no joke, because of the fact that this is a movie that when I don't know what to watch, I will throw on. I will throw it on to fall asleep because I've seen it so many times. I know every single line, every single music cue that I can comfortably fall asleep to it. Dodgeball is one of those movies that I was of its audience when it came out because that was it. That was one of the first DVDs that I owned. One of the first DVDs with a slipcover I owned, mind you. Like that's how fancy we're getting.
Yeah,
but Dodgeball. Go ahead.
Yeah. But for me, it's Dodgeball and Talladega Nights.
I've never seen that either.
I'm not a big fan of Talladega Nights. Like, I saw Talladega Nights in theaters with my dad, and it's funny, but Dodgeball for me has the staying power because not only does it have the lines in the cast, and so does Talladega Nights.
But like, there's a reason why Dodgeball it still holds up today and is honestly. I mean, like you got Alan Tudyk as the pirate.
Oh, Steve the Pirate. Yeah, no, I mean
Steve the Pirate, who wasn't a pirate in the script.
No, and Justin Long, who is literally like a baby in this, and I mean, you've got Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn hadn't really even hit it really big yet. I mean, I don't think he had done Wedding Crashers even at this point yet.
No, not yet.
So, I mean, this is still kind of early for everybody, and I mean, Ben Stiller as White Goodman. White Goodman is one of the best examples of a cinematic villain that you are absolutely supposed to hate, but also he's such a tragic character that you automatically feel bad for him. And I mean, the fact that his end credits are him being like, well, I can't believe you're like, they do the Ferris Bueller. Well, yeah, I can't believe you're here. Yeah, Hollywood, big bad guy loses, good guy wins. People can't deal with, thinking today, the power of modern cinema. And then he literally picks up his rubber tits and does Milkshake Dance. Like, that is the final entry of the end credits of that movie. But no, Dodgeball is a little problematic nowadays. I will absolutely say that it did not age to the best, but on the same side too, it is a product of its time. It is one of those dumb comedies when dumb comedies were still something you could not only put in theaters and have bomb, but put on video and make a killing. Like Dodgeball plays on cable today. I bet if we literally turn the channel, like if we picked 300 channels right now and went through them, we could probably find Dodgeball at some point.
Well, there was a Super Bowl commercial a couple years ago that referenced Dodgeball. Like that's how culturally relevant it still is.
Yeah.
Like, hell, the amount of times on Facebook, Reddit, or any of the big social media sites, I'll see the gif of it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
Yes, I've used that gif so many times. I mean, and it's the same thing that I always think about too. It's like I wonder how kids met Rip Torn and Stephen Root, for example, because like I met Rip Torn back in the movies that my dad watched, like Nadine and like stuff like that. Whereas Men in Black or
Men in Black for me.
Yeah, Men in Black. Yeah. Stephen Root would have been Office Space for me, but then going back into his career, he was fucking popping up everywhere. But I mean,
News Radio.
It's the same thing. It's like, News radio, yeah. It's like the people that didn't grow up with Office Space and grew up with Dodgeball. It's kind of interesting, like those two kind of dichotomies of those two films, because they were both of those like big comedies that we didn't expect to do anything. I think, ironically enough, both box office bombs, if I'm not mistaken, and then on video made a killing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, 100. All right, so I guess Ken, I guess you're our final one today.
Yep. And for me, it's a classic, and it's North by Northwest, which is...
I just saw that.
Oh man, I know it just got a nice 4K release. I'm waiting for that to go down in price before I buy it.
Hitchcock just gets better the older you get. I can't say it better than that. He just has movies that you will not appreciate until you have paid taxes and you know how it feels.
That's a good way to describe it.
Well, he also did special features before they were special features. Like on the 4K for it, he's got a movie. He's like, I want to tell you about a little movie called North by Northwest. It's a travel movie.
He always loved introductions to his features.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
But yeah, North by Northwest was actually the first Hitchcock I saw. I saw it in high school because it was for a what was it? It was like a media
literacy
marketing. It was like a media marketing course, or it was an elective. It was a very weird elective. But we watched that because we had already finished everything. It was the end of the year, and my teacher threw that on. And it is still gripping.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh yeah.
And like I own the Blu-ray version of it via the stupid ass Warner Brothers 50 film collection that they did for the 90th. I think they did it for.
Does it have all the features on it that include like the Warner Brothers documentaries and stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, those are that was when Warner Brothers like was really giving us a gift, but not saying shit about it for the most part. Because they snuck so many of those documentaries on.
The set itself is like a $500 set.
Oh no, I'm talking about like the North by Northwest, like even the 2-disc DVD.
Oh yeah,
they snuck like 2 full feature documentaries like onto a bonus disc that were all about the history of Warner Brothers.
One of my favorite special features ever is the feature length documentary about the early talkies with Casablanca.
Yep. No, that's a good one. There's also one that's the men that made Warner, or oh god, I can't remember what the other title of it was. But no,
I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. But
those documentaries that they snuck on were fantastic.
Yeah. And the other one is Your Name.
Oh. Fucking outstanding pick. Fuck you for making me watch that, by the way.
You will never forgive me for that.
Nope.
But yeah, Your Name is what finally brought its director to a point where I can say start with that film and then maybe go back to some of his older works. Shinkai is more of an artist than he is a true filmmaker. I think Your Name was the first time where he was like legitimately, oh, you've grown into an actual filmmaker now. I think some of his earlier works are visually stunning, but aren't really good movies. Like, they're barely films, in my opinion. They're more art pieces. You can argue Garden of Words is just about there. But I think Your Name is when he finally perfected his writing in terms of a cohesive story, in terms of keeping characters coherent and whatnot. And then everything after Your Name has been just A+, great pieces. And yeah, when I saw it, I had heard all of the hype for this film back through anime boards and whatnot when it was coming out. And it took a full friggin' year for it to come out here in the States. And I had no idea exactly the full plot. All I knew was, okay, it's a body swap movie. The entire third act did not know what was going on. Did not realize what was happening. And sitting in the theater, hitting that third act moment, I'm like, my jaw was on the friggin' floor. And it still holds up today. The music from Rad Wimps is outstanding. And has become a frequent collaborator for Shinkai because absolutely phenomenal music. I don't think this is not my favorite Rad Wimps music in terms of the. I think this is the better of their score stuff, but in terms of their insert songs, I think the film that came after this has the better insert songs, but the score is a little less. Your Name's score, I think, still holds up as opposed to his later stuff.
I'm going to say this about it, because Ken's kind of burying the lead on this, and not in a bad way. Ken talks a lot about fucking anime that we don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Let's be real here. But Ken pitched me this
with
movie.
love.
Yeah, we say this with love. But Ken pitched me this movie last year. I did not know what I was expecting going into it. And what I got was 2 hours of one of the most gripping, charming, and emotionally gut-punching movies I've ever seen. And I remember I told Ken after we were done the recording, hey, look, man, normally I edit the shows right after we're done. There's a little peek behind the curtain. I need to go walk in the park for a while. I need to be alone. And I did not expect the movie to emotionally change me like Your Name did. And that may be overselling it, but I really think it's not. It is one of those.
There's a reason why they are still trying to do a live action in the US. J.J. Abrams is still technically attached as a producer. They have been trying to make it ever since the movie came out in 2016.
Yeah, like it's that good. Now, as long as someone like JJ or Netflix doesn't fuck it up, it'll be amazing. But even if you don't, the dub is fantastic. The less you know about it, the better. And very much how Dave, you said, this is the type of movie, put your phone in the other room. Mm-hmm. Do that with this movie. You will be rewarded for it. Emotional scars are a reward, but it's well worth it to say that. So Ken, that's a great pick. So guys, that's going to do it for this edition of RAM. We've certainly run through a lot of genres, varieties, stuff we never expected to talk about on this show, which I think is really kind of the magic of RAM. We can do whatever the hell we feel like. So what's coming up next? Fuck if I know. So yeah, we're just going to come up with random stuff like we always do. That's why it's Random Access Memories. So from the Royal City in Guelph, Politico, we have been
Adam A. Donaldson.
From Ohio,
calling Dave the Noyer. This is Dave the Noyer. Hi.
And of course from the Garden State,
Ken from This Anime.
I've been Mike the Birdman saying be excellent to each other, but as always, be kind, rewind. We'll catch you guys next time right here on thisweekingeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored
if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.